back to my channel. I'm Mary B. Rose, and this is a segment on my channel, Fabulous Fiction and Crafts, which I call Mary's Book Reviews. And today I am reviewing Ready Player One. I had never even heard of this book. I don't even remember which movie it was. I was watching like 6 months ago, and I actually saw the trailer for this movie, and it did happen to mention that it was based on the best-selling book. This book was written in 2011, and it completely eluded me. The movie trailer looked so good and the story looked so fascinating that I was like, well, heck yeah, I have to read this book. So the second I got out of that movie, whichever one it was, and I downloaded the ebook and I started reading it immediately. Ready Player One is a story about a boy named Wade Watts who lives in a dystopian, futuristic America. I believe the year is 2045. The world at large exists not in a two-dimensional internet system anymore. It lives in a virtual reality internet system called the Oasis. So pretty much everything we do now on the internet, you can do in an immersive experience environment in the Oasis. So it was a really cool concept. The creator of the Oasis, his name is Halliday, and he was born in the 80s, and he's really obsessed with pop culture. And the Oasis was like his baby, and he didn't want it to just fall into the wrong hands of some corporate America conglomerate person who would change all the rules. So to prevent that, before he dies, he sets up this very elaborate game, and it's like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory game, puzzle / test. And Wade becomes obsessed with it because whoever wins the challenge inherits the entire Oasis and all the stock shares and the money and the keys to the kingdom. So that's the premise of the story, and of course Wade represents like Willy Wonka. I mean, this story was very much like that in some ways, the premise was, but in a lot of ways it wasn't. I'm actually going to go over what I didn't like first. I usually do what I like, but there were a lot of things about this book I didn't like. When the book started out, it started out great. The first third of the book, where it's setting up characters and the plot and the world building, it was very well done, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is a great book. I am really gonna love this. But after about the third way point and continually going, my willing suspension of disbelief continually plummeted. Because I am a light gamer. I wish I had more time to play video games, but I don't. However, I have done D&D campaigns. I am most especially a nostalgic gamer, so the ones that they reference in this book, the Atari games or the Nintendo, well, they don't reference Nintendo, but I do enjoy the old Nintendo games. Now, anybody who knows anything about video games, they progressively get harder. Yes, your skills and your armor and your weapons increase as you go through quests and whatnot, but to match that, your bosses get harder and harder too. And I'm sorry, but I just don't think Ernest Cline executed that very well. It felt like as Wade went along through this story, he became so overpowered. It was ridiculous to me. So by the time he got to the end, I'm like, yeah, you're just gonna whip out some power item and save the day. The other thing I didn't like is I felt like it was too cliche. Like the references to the pop culture as the book went on, I just was like, ugh, facepalm, ugh, facepalm, over and over again. I think I nearly got a concussion with how many facepalms I was doing because of the cliches and how bad it was. It was just terrible. It went way over the top. I feel like there was a lack of plot. I don't really feel like Wade went through any character growth. It felt more like this was Ernest Cline's geeky wet dream to vicariously live his fantasies that he can't yet experience right now because technology is not there yet. So he decided to write a story where he could live it, and it was in this book. And for that reason, it feels like there was just a lack of plot as the book went on. Okay, so there were a few things that I did like about this book. I did enjoy Wade's best friend H. He was an amazing character, and Halliday's partner, whose name escapes me right now, he was a really cool character as well. I did enjoy the supporting characters more than Wade, because Wade just felt like dry toast to me. He was basically, like I said, that vicarious shell that any geeky person who wants to live their wet dream in the way that Ernest Cline did can step into Wade and just live that dream. The supporting characters were definitely better. I did really want to bring up one point. Feminists out there, I'm not like anti-feminism, but when it gets extreme in anything out there, I don't agree with it. And there were a lot of people who were saying like this book was misogynistic. I do have to disagree. Now, if I give this away, it's going to be a spoiler, which I don't want to do. A few turning points based on female characters that make Wade actually broaden his vision of the world and see it differently. I really felt that that was not misogynistic. Like, Wade was this character who had tunnel vision. He was like, oh, well, this is the only reason I want to win the contest, and this is how I see this person. And then some things occur and his view shifts because of these characters. And I actually think that in that respect, it seemed very obvious to me that Ernest Cline was actually trying to make a statement against misogyny and against racism. So for me, I really did like that part of the book. And in that respect, I'm like, yay, Ernest Cline. So I don't know where people see it being racist or misogynistic. I didn't see it that way. That was like what little character shift he was gonna have. That was the only thing I saw him have, and it was in a very positive way. Overall, I really would love to give this book 3 roses, but I just can't. I really felt that as I continued to read, it became harder and harder to read. That lack of plot and Wade just being so overpowered that every situation he got into, he got out of so easily, it just caused me to lose my willing suspension of disbelief. So I have to give this book 2 roses, unfortunately. Now, I did go and see the movie a few days ago, and I'm actually going to film that right now. This video will be in parts 1 and 2. If you care to watch the movie review, then head on over to that link. I will leave it down below in the bottom of this video. Otherwise, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my Instagram. It's fabulous.fiction.and.crafts, and follow me. If you prefer email, you can also check out my blog and subscribe to my newsletter. And that's all for today. Bye!